Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Best Care Home Services.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 here in Memphis, Tennessee on this August the 19th. And Ron Wong is in studio and just back from a really dramatic tournament over at Lake Murray in South Carolina. And we're already looking forward to Lake Ouachita next year.
Absolutely.
Back in Arkansas. But, wow, Ron, and you can go to lroutdoors.com. Ron did a wonderful job. About 400 interviews, I think. I don't know, and 6,000 pictures. But we've posted them all on lroutdoors.com.
And there's more to come, too.
There's more to come. That scares me right there. But Ron, through his great talents and his initiative, has always been able to land the champion the next week after the tournament. And this young man right here, what a story to tell. We picked our selections here, Ron, didn't we? I mean,
yes, and I don't know how I missed Justin.
Oh, you don't? Well, I don't know. I'm sure that now you will say I should have gone, but Justin Atkins is with us from Florence, Alabama, and straight off the championship and $300,000 richer. But at the same time, he said he's still in orbit. So that star that you see going around the earth is not the eclipse of the sun and the moon. It's Justin going back. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning. How are y'all doing?
Oh, we're doing great. And Ron was there for this historic event. So, Ron, walk us through how Justin did this, and let's get some thoughts from him.
Well, first of all, he took the lead on day one with over 21 pounds. I think it was 21 pounds, 5 ounces, right, Justin?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And Anthony Gagliardi had already weighed in. Mm-hmm. One of the favorites on the lake. I mean, he lives right there at Prosperity, South Carolina, which is on the lake of Lake Murray there. And Justin just took the lead. Fell a little bit on the second day, but came back on that third day.
Wow, did he come back?
With a huge bag of fish. And Dustin, we at Outdoors with Larry Ray, first of all, want to congratulate you on a wonderful, wonderful victory in front of record crowds. I mean, the Colonial Penn Arena was packed, and there you are receiving it, of course, with your wife, your family there. And it was pretty awesome. And, one of the things that, people often wonder, how does somebody like you that's hardly ever been on the lake determine a pattern to win a championship like this with so much pressure and then finding those cane piles? And tell people what cane piles are on Lake Murray.
All right. The first thing to approaching any kind of new lake is definitely doing your homework. Look and see what has won in the past. Look and see what all your available options are. Last time they were at Lake Murray, a lot of guys called them shallow, a lot of guys called them schooling, and some guys even called them out deep, fishing rock with like a Carolina rig, things like that. So you already know from the beginning that the fish will cover the whole spectrum of the water column. In Lake Murray, there's lots of options. The cane pile deal was not even a player last time they were there.
That's right.
And I think that comes from last time they were there, we'd had a really hot summer. And the lake had probably thermoclined pretty badly, which when they said they called them deep in rock, I think they called them more offshore on rock. I don't know how deep the fish actually were. But the lake had probably thermoclined a little bit, which put 90% of the fish in the upper part of the water column, which would be on the bank or roaming chasing the herring. They may not be but 10 foot deep, but they'd be over 100 foot of water. Doing their schooling thing and things like that. And As random as schooling fish can be, they can also be predictable when you've lived on a lake your whole life, such as Anthony, who capitalized on
Right,
the schooling bite
or
and
Brandon
brought
Cobb.
or Bingo or Brandon. That's right. People that really know over years of experience during that time frame where these fish are liable to come up out here in what would look like space to somebody like me. So, it really played into my hands when we didn't. We've had a warm summer, but it hasn't been just ridiculously hot like normal.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the lake, hasn't thermoclined or nothing. They're on just a typical, what would probably be May or June pattern, which is postpone, get out deep, live offshore. Bass love to live offshore.
Mm-hmm.
I've figured that out from the Tennessee River,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Fish don't love to live on the bank. They like to get in groups and get offshore together. And so looking at, kind of the water temperature, the conditions we had when we got over there, I kind of expected to find some kind of offshore bite. And just from talking to people that had been there before, previous, tournaments that were there, things like that, I knew that there was things called cane piles that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first started hearing about this cane pile deal, I was a little bit confused at why they were even there, because I fished herring lakes before and called fish up
Mm-hmm.
and caught them on topwater bait out of normal brush.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference there is those were all spotted bass lakes. Lake
Right.
Murray doesn't have any spotted bass in
Right.
it. It has a few. I saw one get caught while I was there. Me and Brandon were actually sitting there talking one day during practice. We just passed each other on the lake and stopped in the middle of the lake, and some fish come up blowing, and Brandon was quicker to his rod and threw out there and caught a spotted bass.
Oh.
So I witnessed one get caught.
Yeah.
But Lake Murray doesn't have a big spotted bass population. Now, this herring had definitely changed largemouth.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Those are not their typical largemouth in that lake. But largemouth still will not travel as far as a spotted bass from deep water to come up. Like Lake Lanier, places like that, they'll catch them. Well, that spotted bass is 30 foot deep, and they'll call him all the way to the surface. And a largemouth just isn't going to do that. So what you do with a cane pile is you have to place the cane pile in a certain depth of water. A lot of the ones I had found were 22, 20, somewhere right in there.
Uh-huh.
And they were 10 to 12 foot tall. And all it is bamboo that people have cut. You leave the green leaves on it, put them in a bucket, concrete them, fill them up with sand, whatever, something to weight them down. If you're going to put sand on them, you have to put them on kind of a flat area. But if you concrete them, you can tape a 2-liter bottle to the top of it.
Right.
That way it'll make them sit straight up.
That's right.
And so these people will put these, cane piles out and sink them. And what happens is that gives those bass some cover to get around out over deep water to ambush the herring, but they can hide way up high in the water column.
Wow.
And so these fish would only be like 8 to 10 foot deep, out over 20, 25 foot of water.
And you would
That's
call them
basically
up.
the breakdown of what a cane pile is. That's
Right.
right. And you call them up.
Call them up with a topwater bait.
And the fresher they are, the more fish. Is that right? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, absolutely. They just have more cover.
Uh-huh.
The fresher they are, the greener and leafy they are, and those fish would get down in those cane piles and really hide in them. And that seemed to be the ones that held the bigger school of fish.
Well, we're talking to Justin Atkins, Forest Wood Cup champion for 2017 out of Lake Murray. They're Columbia, South Carolina last weekend. And I know, Justin, how old are you?
27.
27 years old. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you didn't even know what this year was going to present to you. I think I heard that you only had enough money to fish in 4 tournaments. So walk us through how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. I moved to Florence after college. My now wife lived up here, and when I was a little kid, my dad used to bring me to Pickwick. We would go, to Iuka down on the lower end.
Uh-huh.
I used to come all the time up here and fish, and I always loved it. And I can remember sitting at the hotel at J.P. Coleman, right at sunset, looking across that lake, and I just always had that thought of wanting to live up here.
Uh-huh.
And so the opportunity arose for me to get a job and move up here and start working. So I jumped all over it and moved up here. And Probably I did that for about a year and a half, and an opportunity came up for me to work for Humminbird and be a contract worker doing it's called hydrographic surveying. I just collect data on different lakes and submit it in for them to create lake master chips with.
Okay.
And that job gave me a lot of freedom and time to be able to kind of do what I want. And I had fished the full division of Mississippi BFLs again last year. It was the first year I'd gotten to do that since I lived in Mississippi. And I qualified for the regional, and it was going back to Lake Dardanelle. My history at Lake Dardanelle is when I was 19, I won the Weekend Series National Championship as a co-angler there.
Really?
And won $50,000.
Wow.
So that's kind of what had funded me, my fishing career up to that point. And I was going back to Lake Dardanelle, really excited about it. I thought it was going to be the exact same time of year. I'd kind of figured something out fishing behind my boaters last time that I felt like I might really be able to, key into when I get back. So the other side of that is the All-American is going to be on Pickwick this year. And so now that I live on Pickwick, bingo. I just told my parents, I said, look, and my wife, I said, look, if I make the All-American, I'm not sitting here saying I'm going to win it by any means because that's a super big stretch, but I feel very confident I'll have a really good tournament.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to, if I make the All-American, I'm going to fish the tour. They were like, looked at me kind of wild-eyed, like, do what? That's a lot of money, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Me and my dad had a lot of conversation back and forth about it, and he was in disagreement with me for about 2 weeks. And then one day, he randomly called me, and he said, look, I've been thinking about this, and you're right. You don't have any kids. You don't have any serious bills. You've been working, trying to save up a bunch of money.
Yeah.
If you don't catch a single bass, at least you got to say you did it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's all you've ever wanted to do. This ain't a bad time to do it.
So go for it.
I got my stuff lined up. We go to Lake Dardanelle, end up finishing third, qualify for the All-American. That first available chance I get my deposits paid for the tour. And, I had saved up a lot of money, almost enough to pay all my entry fees, but then you turn and got travel expenses and all this and that. And to make it work, to start the year, I just told myself, I was like, after putting it on paper, you don't need to get 3 checks to be able to finish the whole year.
You had it planned.
So I had it planned out. I had it all figured out, what everything's kind of going to cost me. And I figured I was going to need 3 checks to make it through the whole year. So, that's tall order for some rookies. I mean, one of my best friends fishes the, Bassmaster Elite Series, and he's like, dude, I'm not trying to be negative, but if you get 2 checks your rookie season, that's really good.
Are we talking about the classic champion Jordan Lee?
No, Jordan Lee had full faith in me. Justin Lucas is the one.
And of course, he's one of your friends.
Yeah, who's the one that you were talking? Who was the one you were just talking about?
Justin Lucas is the one.
Oh yeah, okay, Justin Lucas. Yeah.
2 checks your rookie season's awesome, and he is, a multiple-time winner. He knows what he's talking about. So I just had to take everybody's advice into consideration, and I decided that I was going to go for it. So, I went and put in a bunch of pre-practice time at Gunnersville and had a great event there, got the ball rolling, and ended up getting 5 out of 7 checks.
Wow.
Finished third in All-American and won the Cup. So,
well, can you hang on
really
just
good.
a minute? We got Joe Opacker coming up next. Can you hang on just for a second and let's talk to him just for a couple of minutes?
And we'll talk for another 10, 12 minutes after our break here.
Yeah, so hang on. We're going to take a break right now, folks, and we'll be right back talking some more to Justin Atkins, the 2017 Forest Wood Cup champion on Outdoors with Larry Ray.
You can find